Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Monica Garnett joining us here once again. She's the founder and owner of her own company, Garnett Counseling. That's Garnett, counseling.com. She's from Los Angeles, but also licensed in Illinois, Nevada, and New Jersey. She also has a substance abuse license as well. And we're here today to talk more about the counseling services she provides. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Happy Easter, happy Passover. If you celebrate, hope you had a good holiday so far.
Thank you. It was wonderful. How about you?
Good. Yeah, we did well. Easter was fun yesterday. The kids, Easter egg hunts, all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But pleasure to have you back here. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about you and your company?
Sure. So I have been around since 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to throw in there because we've just been approved or just been licensed in Virginia as well. So
Congrats. Awesome.
yay.
Awesome.
So yes, now it's 5 states. So we provide individual therapy, families therapy, couples therapy, and as well as coaching, life
Fantastic.
coaching. Yes.
Yay. So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, last week I know we had hit upon who's on your team
Mm-hmm.
as far as figuring out where to place people in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was thinking maybe we should go into setting boundaries, but one thing that kept coming up last week, which is that come up a lot, is love languages, communication, heart communication. And so with the love languages, it's really it's 5 love languages. There are 5 love languages. But I think about it, I use the analogy of learning a new language. And I've seen this overseas, and I've seen this actually here in the States, where you have 2 people who speak different languages. And so when they try to communicate, there is frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And so one person may become louder.
Hi, Conan.
One person, well, sometimes you can see the visual frustration, you
I
know.
have it myself personally, but that's my own issue. But go ahead. I want to know, what are these 5 languages, if you could break them down too?
Absolutely, absolutely. They are words of affirmation. And so, just compliments, and appreciation, verbal encouragement. Let me know how you feel about me. Let me know how I am in your life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Quality time, spending that special time together, receiving gifts, physical touch,
Okay.
and physical touch. And I'm just going to hit on this because this was sometimes just a question about physical touch. Physical touch can be intimacy, can be touching on the back. It doesn't necessarily have to be sexual intimacy.
Okay. But touchy
Yes,
feely. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Hugs. And when I think of intimate touch, I don't know why I always go to someone just touching, gently on the back
Oh, I
a
lost
little
your.
bit.
Oh, there, I just
Uh-oh.
lost your audio. You're back. You're back.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we have these love languages. Continue. Go ahead.
And then the last one is acts of service.
Okay.
So doing things for the person that you love or receiving those things. Because with love languages, it's not only, well, just like any language, it's not only how I give that information, it's how I receive it as well.
Okay.
And so sometimes the conflict comes into play when the person receives it, it doesn't understand. They have different love languages.
Uh-huh.
And so you may have one person who has physical touch and the other one is acts of service. And so and I get this an awful lot. They don't love me. They don't love me. They're not showing me how they appreciate me. And the person is like, what are you talking about? I do it all the time. I wash the dishes. I actually have someone say, I washed clothes. When I do the laundry, that's acts of service. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about it. I hate laundry. So, hey. Um, but yeah, that's where the conflict comes into play a lot, where I'm not communicating. So it goes back to even with the verbal languages. How am I receiving this information? So there's the frustration that comes into play.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, does that mean you have to go by, if you look at a couple, should they be compatible in the love language department, or can you learn to bend from that, like, and understand each other's differences?
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely learn to bend. Um, and I'm leaning back to that verbal
Mm-hmm.
analogy or comparison of of languages,
Mm-hmm.
because we can all learn new languages. Sometimes it's a little more difficult than others. And so one of the things that recognizing someone else's love language, you have to be a little more purposeful, especially in the beginning when I'm learning that person's language, because now I'm looking for the cues of how they're actually communicating how they feel about me.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas individual A in the relationship, marriage, etc., they may say, okay, I'm seeing that individual B is applying physical touch. I hate physical touch, but recognizing, okay, they gave me a hug. Okay, trying to love on me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me recognize that. But then it's also for the excuse me, individual B to say, okay, well, the other person likes quality time or acts of, well, I'll stick with quality time. So then quality time, I don't have time for quality time. You know, we're all busy. Who has time for
Sounds
quality
like
time?
me. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's finding those spaces in between. So quality time can be, and a lot of times I'm cutting myself off a little bit, because a lot of times I like to take it down to the bare bones or
Mm-hmm.
make it simple. And so
Okay.
something we can build on. And so quality time can be, hey, listen to a few songs together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, let's sit together for a second. Let's go for that walk, that 15-minute walk. Because granted, like I said, a lot of us don't have that time. Hopefully we can spare maybe 5 to 15 minutes for that person to let them know that we care about them,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so just kind of meeting with the recognition part, that's a little bit just pulling it back and starting from there. And a lot of times just recognizing that, oh, you know what? My partner has loves this way, A, B, and C, and I love X, Y, Z. So being that we recognize that, that's the start of our language journey, our translation journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it's a good start. It's definitely a good start.
Ah. No. My boyfriend loves telling me he's all five signs language, and he says I'm none. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we don't speak the same love language at all. He's very feely touchy, he wants to touch my feet all the
Yeah,
time. And I'm like, that is disgusting. I'm like, I don't want my feet touched. We fight over it. Well,
yeah,
I'm like, I don't want you touching my feet. And we argue over it. I'm like, it's gross to me. I don't like the way it feels. Like it's not, well, to him, it makes him feel good. I'm like, gross. But like there's certain things that people just can't get over sometimes, right?
absolutely. It's funny, because I was talking about recognition of the love languages. I know in my own experience, I had went, of course, me being the therapist, sometimes I take the therapy to my relationships, which I'm telling on myself again. I hope no one is listening that I know. But I asked the same question. Well, I asked a similar question. How do you love me? How do I know? And he said, I don't know. I said, oh, I said,
Ah,
oh no. What
mhm,
do we do? So actually, I went back and I looked back at our transcripts in our
mhm,
relationship and was just like, okay, and I was able to point out things as far as physical touch and quality time. And so a lot of the things that I speak about in therapy, I have to practice myself, because physical touch is not it's not my
mhm,
language.
mhm. Yeah.
But I actually learned to recognize it, one, and then two, to appreciate it when it came. And then three, actually, I started to enjoy it.
Mhm,
And those are actually the steps that I work with my couples. I work my couples through,
mhm.
you know. But it definitely uh it starts off with that recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking, I had a visual of I'll use myself as an example again. I think I was 11 or 12 when we lived in Germany. And my grandmother, she was having a very hard time learning the language. And I remember just the frustration and it just, she gave up, I guess. And so with the love languages, we work through that part so that there isn't the giving up. There is the pushing through because there is learning anything new. It takes some time and patience with yourself and the other person.
Wow. So once you identify what love language you are, right, and
Hmm.
what you like, and then now how do you work on it with your partner? What do you suggest? Because it's hard to understand someone else's needs. Like you mentioned, physical touch might not be for you. Same here, but sometimes, at least in my case, he doesn't understand. There's no getting through that. It's like, well, you should like it. I'm like, I don't. Like, I don't. And we fight over that.
Usually what we do next is if the person is still not understanding, at least understand what I do like,
Hmm. I
because
said,
they're
you could touch my
understanding.
feet if I have a pedicure and I don't have calluses but it hasn't been done since December. I had a broken foot. I'm like, don't touch me. But it's fine. It's beautiful. I don't feel beautiful or fine. But yeah.
He's like, hear me. This is how I'm speaking to you. And it's, yeah, well, if you can't recognize what I'm saying, if you can't recognize, if you can only speak in your lens or your language, here, learn what I'm talking about. And this is where we get into the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I like quality time, this is what I
Yeah.
this is what I look for. This is what I like to see. This is how I know you're making that effort, and how you're loving on me. And sometimes it's not even when the person is having difficulty with that, we try to find a way to come and,
Middle ground.
yeah. And I'm scrunching my face up a little bit because sometimes compromise is not in the middle, but we're trying to find a way where we can, yeah, pretty much come together and figure this out, and learn how to speak until we can get those languages locked into play.
What else do we need to know about this? And what should we be doing? Uh,
Go ahead.
no. What comes next? So we identify them, you work through them.
Then practice, you know, we practice. And the thing with practicing, we try to make sure it's not, well, it's a tit for tat. It's a more of a, okay, I'm doing this, I'm working through it, I'm recognizing this is great. Not so much of, well, I gave you 15 minutes. I gave you your 15 minutes yesterday. So now you need to give me a hug, because it can easily become tit for tat. And yeah, we sometimes, there are a lot of people who like to keep score, but that's not the goal here. And so
Mhm.
there's a keeping that goal in the forefront. We're not here to badger our partner. We're here to learn how to love and how to communicate that love.
Mhm.
And so yeah. Yeah.
All right. Remind us, Monica, how we can reach out to you. Tell us all forms of contact.
Absolutely. GarnettCounseling.com. So that is GarnettCounseling.com. My number is 888-427-6006. On Facebook, I am under Garnett Counseling. And on Instagram, I am Garnett_counseling.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Monica.
Yeah.
What else did you want to share about these 5 love languages? What happens next?
Well, one of the things that came up, and it was in a few couple sessions because there was a bit of confusion because they had the same love language,
Hmm.
you know, and this has happened quite a few times actually. And so I'll just use quality time. I don't know. I think, well, quality time is mine. That's why that's my go-to. Uh, but there were, they both said, oh, my time is quality time. I don't understand. Where's the conflict? And I
Hmm.
said, we have love language dialects, different dialects. Every
Hmm.
language has their own dialect, you know. And I'll be honest, I remember just in different classes, different language classes, I would become frustrated because I wanted to speak like everyone else did, who spoke that language. When I was in Spanish, I wanted to speak I just wanted to go out. I didn't want to speak the proper dialect that we had learned in class, you know. And so and that happens with the couples where we have the same language with different dialects. And so on one side, it could be with quality time. Oh, I just want to sit at home and just watch TV with you.
Yeah.
Whereas the other couple or the other side, the partner could be like, well, you know what? I just like spending time out and about. And so there's the conflict. You know, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to spend time with you outside. I'd rather spend time with you indoors. Well, I don't want to spend time with you indoors. I want to go outside. And so we had to walk back through the same steps. First, recognizing, well, wait a minute, you are speaking the same language. Two, excuse me, how do you recognize what are some of the things that help you recognize where you want to be, where you are and where you want to be? And then how do we come and meet in the middle here? How are both partners able to be fed? You know?
Yeah.
And so with one case, I'm thinking of, we had a little bit of the dialects and we had a little bit of the tit for tat. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. Because one partner, and it happens, you know, when one person is just, I did this, and that, and said, okay, let's pull back. Let's bring it back to the table. You know, what are we here for? And actually they came back to the table and they were both able to recognize and compromise, you know, just that time, that quality time. So sometimes they would spend time outside. Sometimes they would spend time inside. And they found the actual activities that they would both enjoy. With the understanding that sometimes there may be activities that either one person enjoys more than the other. And that was okay, because at the end of the day, we're looking at how do we speak this language or the languages and dialects together.
Languages, plural. Got it.
Plural. Which sometimes makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though. It comes up because I would think that it would come up more in couples therapy, but it comes up a lot in individual as well. And when I talk about them, you know, of course, being that we think that it's going to be mostly in couples, with individuals, it can be it doesn't have to be a partner. It could be parents, children.
Oh, yeah. That's why
Yes.
some parents and children don't see eye to eye. And you look back, why are they not talking now? They're adults. Like, what happened? How could it be? This is your mother.
Oh,
But you're
yeah.
right. I heard about that. The love languages comes down to the family. Oh, my
Oh,
goodness. Wow.
absolutely. Absolutely. There have been so many times where I heard, my mother doesn't love me or my dad doesn't care for me at all. And I say, okay, well, what are you hearing? What's going on? You know, let's scale it back. You know, how are you all spending time together? What's your communication like? And they're like, oh, you know, after we play it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And of
I
course,
didn't
I'm a
think
little,
about that.
oh, yeah.
Forget about just intimate, like, husband, wife, whatever. We're talking relationships in general with our family, with our friends.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes. Are my favorite siblings.
Oh, yes.
The friends that you're born with, the friends or the enemies.
By the way, that's why I advise for mental health counselors, neutral position. Very good to go to them for advice, not sometimes your sibling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, because really with siblings, you have to recognize we're born together.
Yeah.
And I laugh sometimes with my my clients, because you know the haha is, you know, you have two people who came a lot of times from the same people and we're so different, you know. And how do we communicate? Same thing, love languages. Yeah. Yeah. I have a sister who's touchy-feely, and I used to look at her like, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy to
Weird.
me.
Like,
How do you do that?" And she's looking at me like, "How do you not?" So yeah.
Aw.
Even work. Yeah. How do
Mhm.
people show me that they appreciate me? Where some thrive on, "Oh, tell me I'm doing a great job."
Mhm.
You know, I would like to have the accolades. Where there's others who say, "You know what? Excuse me. Um, it could be more of acts of service, or it could be gifts."
Mhm.
So it boils down to so many different relationships. So
Mhm.
it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Do you counsel siblings and family members together, or is it mostly the individual that's dealing with the problem with somebody else in the family?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
It comes up a lot with my individuals. I think mostly with the parent and sibling relationships.
Mhm.
Outside of the partner relationships, I
Mhm.
would say parent and sibling are a very, very close second, almost overlapping.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. What else did you have for us today, Monica? We still have some
Well,
time on the clock.
sure. Well, actually, I was just going to talk about why they're important,
Okay.
but I think I hit upon some of the considerations that I was going to talk about too. Um, and actually, before I go into why they're important, one relationship I did not talk about is the relationship with self.
Mm.
You know, because I have, and I say we, and I'm generalizing. So if it doesn't apply to anyone, my apologies.
Mhm.
But but yeah, how do I recognize, how do I give to myself? How do I love on myself? Do I even recognize how I love me?
Mhm.
And that goes kind of into self-care. Sometimes I hear some people say, I look in the mirror and I say, "Oh, you are a great person today." And they give themselves those affirmations. Or it may not hit for everyone.
Mhm.
Me personally, I'm a massage and manicure girl. So that acts of service and quality time that I spend with myself can be everything.
Mhm.
But it's how do I love on me,
Yeah.
and how do I communicate that? Yeah. And so they're so important though, because, I think we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but it shows how do I receive love? How do I give it?
Mhm.
How do I appreciate that person? How do I love that person? And how do I show them? You
Ah.
know, yeah.
Any like advice for us to with the self-love and things that we could be doing, and because you forget those little things that matter. I mean, like for me, it's like positive affirmations for me and my children. It's being grateful and thanking, Lord, for another day that we're here, and like just little things like that is what gets me and my family through. But for other
Yeah.
people out there, what else do you suggest?
Recognizing, even when you're not able to recognize in the moment, those times when you have done something for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how has it felt for you?
Yeah.
You know, and then we can look at the scale and kind of see where each part fits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell myself, hey, I'm going to have a good day today. Where would that fit on that? What language would that be? Which
Yeah.
one connects to you? And then, okay, well, how can we implement this a little bit more? So, yeah,
With your voice, it's so calming.
thank you.
Yes, you have a natural calming voice. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard
Yeah.
that before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I used
Yeah.
to work for a crisis line. So, yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
see, you just pick things
Yeah.
up about people. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Loved it. Loved it.
Oh my
Maybe it's
goodness.
because of that calm, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, in those situations, I can only imagine the type of calls you were getting. I mean, we're talking like people, heart attacks, choking, like crisis center like that, or like a suicide line. Which,
A
let me, if you don't
suicide
mind me
line.
asking. Oh my
Sure,
gosh.
sure, sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
To try to help talk
Actually,
someone. Oh,
hmm, yeah.
no, to try to help talk someone through it. Oh,
I would say it was one of my most beautiful experiences. We had a lot of people who were at that point, but at the same time, we had a lot of people who just needed someone just to hear them out for that minute, second. Sometimes I might give them an hour. I'm telling on myself again. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just that push to make it through. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, we still have 2 minutes left, Monica. What else did you want to share?
Sure. I guess just going back to that self-care part. After you recognize it, how do you implement it? Of course, I said, look back into the past and see what connected with you. But and I'm generalizing again, we're creatures of habit, and we're creatures who are very, very busy. So I always say, you don't have to start at the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
Let's just wait and see what it's like, and then go from there. And so, starting off at the shallow end of the pool can look like, I'll give myself 5 minutes for this. I'll make a set a timer to give myself affirmations, just so I don't forget and get wiped away with the day. Just making sure I implement myself in the schedule, because the one thing is, kind of going back to when you're traveling, when the stewardess says, or the flight attendant says, I'm telling on myself my age.
Yeah.
But she says, make sure you put the oxygen on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. Yeah, you have to make sure that you are breathing, that you are in a good place before I can really apply it. So yeah, let me put that oxygen on me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First.
It's so funny. I used to think I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. But then it makes sense.
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're talking today about the 5 love languages. If you want any more information to reach out to you, again, you're licensed where specifically, Monica?
California, New Jersey, Nevada, Illinois, and now Virginia.
Yay! All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here, GarnettCounseling.com. And do you want to leave a phone number as well?
Sure. It's 888-427-6006. And Facebook, Garnett Counseling, and Instagram, Garnett_counseling.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next time we speak. Thank you again. And thanks for sharing about your other work that you used to do, because that's so helpful to so many people. Wow.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, guys. Have a fantastic day and a great week. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.